So we'll get started. So we're going to start today with a bit of breathing. Sitting cross-legged. And again, as always, if you guys can't hear me or anything, just let me know and then I'll fiddle with the settings. So sitting cross-legged on your mat, start to let your shoulders drop down and away. Hands sitting on your lap, like so. Starting to breathe into your belly. And what we're going to be doing today is a bit of opposite nose breathing. So closing your eyes, and I'll do a bit of a demo. So if everyone can just mute themselves, that would be awesome, if you're not already muted. So with taking your left hand, so putting your thumb of your left hand on your left nostril, and then your index finger of your left hand on your right nostril. So if you can do that. And then I'll kind of demo how it will be before we dive into it, just so it makes sense beforehand. So what we'll be doing is starting with our left nostril. So keeping your right plugged with your index finger, breathing in just through your left nostril. So breathing in. And then at the top, we'll hold it for 4 seconds. And then what you'll do is you'll let go of your index finger and breathe out through your right nostril. So then you'll breathe in through your right nostril, then hold it at the top, then breathe out through your left nostril. Then breathe in through your left nostril, then hold at the top, and breathe out through your right nostril. So you're kind of just alternating which nose you're breathing in and out. So what you'll do is when you breathe in, you'll always breathe out on the other side, and then you'll breathe in again on that same side, and then breathe out on the opposite side. So remember, between your inhale and then the exhale, you'll be switching sides. So we'll begin. And if you are plugged up in your nose at all, feel free to actually do box breathing instead. So this is breathing in. If your nose is completely plugged, you can breathe in through your mouth and breathing in for 4 seconds, holding at the top for 4, and then breathing out for 4, and then holding for 4 again. So it's similar to what we'll be doing, but you'll be doing it just not with alternate noses. Okay, so we'll begin. So placing your fingers where I mentioned on your nose, your thumb and index finger. And then we'll begin by breathing in through the left nostril for 1, 2, 3, 4, holding at the top, and then breathing out through your right nostril for 1, 2, 3, 4, holding at the bottom for 2, 3, 4, breathing in through your right nostril for 2, 3, 4, holding at the top for 2, 3, 4, and then breathing out through your left nostril for 1, 2, 3, 4, holding at the bottom, 2, 3, 4, inhaling through your left nostril for 1, 2, 3, 4, holding at the top for 2, 3, 4, exhaling through your right nostril for 2, 3, 4, holding at the bottom for 2, 3, 4, inhaling through your right nostril for 2, 3, 4, holding at the top for 2, 3, 4, and then exhaling through your left nostril for 2, 3, 4, holding at the bottom for 2, 3, 4, inhaling through your left nostril for 2, 3, 4, holding at the top for 2, 3, 4, and then exhaling through your right nostril for 2, 3, 4, holding at the bottom, 2, 3, 4, inhaling through your right nostril for 2, 3, 4, and then just letting yourself relax. Breathing through both nostrils. Breathe through both. Notice how they may feel now. Notice how your body feels. The reason why we do alternate nose breathing is that through our left nostril, we actually help to stimulate our parasympathetic nervous system, so our rest and digest nervous system are calm, and then our right nostril is more of our sympathetic, our kind of exciter nervous system. So when we combine them both, we really help to balance out the body a lot. So taking one moment here to ground into your breathing, closing your eyes, and just kind of settle into figuring out how you feel. So really just go into how you feel. Holding here for a few moments, just relaxing into this moment. Here, well, with our arms still crossed, our legs still crossed, place your hands forward on the ground in front of you, walking your hands forward so that your forearms come down onto the ground, flexing your feet a bit to help open your low back, maybe looking down at the ground, keeping a long spine, not cranking in your neck. Breathing through your belly here. Noticing how it feels. And then using your hands, pushing yourself back up. And from here, taking the soles of your feet together so that you're in a bit of a butterfly position. Lengthening your spine, looking up, imagining that there's a string coming out of the top of your head so that you're full, long, and lengthened. And as you exhale, start to lean forward, keeping your spine long. So here, like me, I can't fold forward very much, but you can notice the difference. So we're focusing here on keeping that long spine, opening through your hips, your inner thigh, breathing deeply. Breathe through your belly, if you can, through your nostrils, and then send that air straight down into your belly. And then straighten back up again. So keeping that long spine. And this time, as we fold forward, we'll actually curl our spine. So curling your spine, and it's a completely different kind of stretch. Here, we're focusing more on opening our back body, finding that a length there, rather than keeping a long spine where we would mostly focus on our hips opening. And you can always move your legs forward or towards you, however you feel will help you today. Breathing deeply. And then pushing yourself back up with your hands. We'll keep your right leg in and then extend your left leg out towards the side. From here, you kind of want to face the side of your mat as much as you can with your left leg kind of straight to the edge of your mat as much as you can. We'll be doing a big old side bend. So again, looking kind of towards the right of the room where this right leg is sticking out. Inhaling to lengthen, reaching the arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, slowly bending over towards the left. Your left hand can fall wherever it may. And then reaching that right arm up and over towards the left. We're finding a nice opening in this right side body here. In a bit in that right psoas, a bit in that leg. The further you go, perhaps the bigger, deeper, but we don't want to be hurting ourselves here. We're really focusing on getting our chest to face the side of the room. So we're not kind of going down, we're facing the side of the room. Opening deeply here. And then on your next exhale, dropping the right hand down so you're not kind of leaning up like this, dropping it down and slowly walking yourself back up. This time now, looking towards facing the front of your mat, we'll cross over this right leg onto the left side of the left leg. Inhaling to lengthen here again. Imagine that string coming out of the top of your head, looking forward. And as you exhale, twisting over towards the right, left hand comes to, your left elbow comes to your right knee, spiraling the right hand behind you, looking over towards the right. So when we're in a twist, we want to focus on twisting first from our torso. So we're getting our maximum twist from our torso first, and then kind of twisting our upper body more. So if you're focusing on just twisting your upper body first, then we're going to get some kind of resistance there. So focusing on making sure we're twisting our whole spine and not cranking in certain areas. Looking over your right shoulder, making sure you're not cranking that right shoulder up by your ear. Breathing deep here as always to help us relax into these twists. Taking one last final deep exhale. And then inhaling back to center. We'll untuck this right leg, extend it forward, reach the arms up towards the sky, and exhale to fold forward. You might want to find a bend in your knees here, letting your hands fall wherever they do. And you can take your choice here. So you can take your back bent, like and kind of curled forward, or straight. The more straight it is, the more you'll find a stretch in your hamstrings. And the more curled, the more you'll find a stretch in your low back. So focusing on whatever you need here. I'm going to take a nice curled spine position here. And again, I really emphasize as much as you can, bending these knees often helps you to find a stretch in your big parts of your hamstrings and the big parts of your calves as well, rather than the ligaments that connect them both. So focusing on your breath here as well, hands to the belly, helping those muscles relax. And then inhaling all the way back up. And we'll switch sides what we were doing before. So coming back to facing the front of your mat like we did in our butterfly. Coming back to this butterfly. But this time, we'll keep the left leg tucked and extend the right leg out towards the side. So again, trying to make it so that your torso is facing the front of your room, so towards this left knee, and that the right leg is facing more kind of parallel to the back edge of your mat here. On our inhale, looking kind of towards the side, making so that your torso is facing the side of the room. Inhaling to lengthen, reaching the arms up towards the side. Exhale to bend over towards the right. Again, letting your right hand fall wherever it may. And then your left hand comes up and over towards the right. Yeah, so that. Trying to make it so that your torso is facing the side of the room, again, rather than trying to face towards the ground. Again, really focusing on this side bend, engaging through your core here too. So you're not just using your hand, the right hand, to support you, but also engaging through your right side of your core to help kind of clench those muscles instead of focusing just on the elongation, also focusing on the stability of holding this posture. Breathing deeply here. And on your next exhale, dropping the left hand down. So not just rising all the way up, but dropping the left hand down first and then walking your hands up. It's a more gentle way to come out of the posture. Now facing, I guess it'll be the back of your mat now. Facing the back of your mat, we'll do what we did on the opposite side, doing a nice twist. So crossing your left leg over top of the right and on to the right side of that right leg. Inhaling to lengthen through the spine. And as you exhale, again, twisting from the torso first. So really focusing on twisting from the torso first. And then placing your right elbow on the top of your left knee. And then twisting the rest of the way. Looking over towards the left side of the room. Breathing deeply here. Using your exhale to help you relax a bit deeper. Dropping those shoulders down and away. Still finding a piece of calm in this moment. And then inhaling back to center. From here, uncrossing your legs. And again, we'll find taking the opposite forward bend. So when we did our last forward bend, I gave you the choice of doing either a flat back or a curled back. Whatever you chose last time, this time, do the opposite. So inhaling to lengthen up to the sky and exhale, folding forward. Again, you can keep your knees straight or bent, whatever your preference here. Just noticing how it feels. And this time I'm going to take a straight back because I curled my back last time. Focusing on that lengthened spine. Breathing through the belly. And if everyone can just mute themselves, it would be amazing. Thank you. So breathing through that belly. Feeling, noticing where you feel that stretch in your calves or your hamstrings. Really starting to cultivate that body awareness. And then if you are in a flat back, you might want to curl your back and engage your core to help you walk yourself back up into the seated position. Okay, so now coming back into our butterfly, we're going to do our butterfly one more time just to notice here how your openness in your hips may have changed. So inhaling again to lengthen and exhale, folding forward. So notice if you can fold forward a bit more than you did before. That would kind of lend to the idea that we've just opened our hamstrings and our inner hips a bit. So we're able to find a bit more length. Keeping that long line of your crown to tail again. And then rising all the way back up. From here, windshield wiper your legs from side to side. Find that range of motion in your hips. Get all that out. And then we'll come forward onto all fours in our tabletop position. So from tabletop, we're going to do a couple cat-cows, opening through the chest, inhaling to drop the belly, look up, cow pose. And exhale, pull the shoulder blades apart, looking down, tucking your chin to your chest, really pushing against the ground, finding that force there. Inhale again to drop the belly, looking up. Exhaling for the opposite, curling your navel to spine, looking down. Inhaling to your cow pose, moving intuitively here, moving with your breath. Exhaling again, back to your cat. And then inhale, finding a flat back, neutral spine. And then think to circle the hips in any sort of fashion that feels good for you. Noticing any tightness here, how that feels. And then again, finding some stillness here. On your next inhale, reaching the right arm up towards the sky. And then exhale, threading the needle, bringing your right arm underneath the left, bringing your right shoulder down to the ground. Inhaling all the way back up, reaching the right arm up towards the sky. And exhale, threading the needle one more time. Right arm comes underneath the left. Inhaling, this time coming back to center. And again, we'll circle the hips. Circling, finding that intuitive motion with what feels tight, feeling it out here. And then coming back to a neutral spine. Inhaling this time to lift the left arm up towards the sky. And exhale, starting the needle, left hand comes underneath the right. Inhaling all the way back up, reaching that left hand all the way up, twisting towards the left. And exhaling, threading the needle, left arm comes down under left shoulder towards the mat. Inhaling, back to center. From here, walking your hands forward a bit. Forearms come down to the ground, and my favorite pose, puppy posture. So sit, letting your heels come all the way back, opening to your lats here, your shoulders, your side body. Really using the weight of your hips to pull and open everything in your upper body here. We often don't get our hands in this position of above our head, so it's really important that at least once a day, we're at least putting our arms above us to help our shoulders find that extra range of motion that we don't always get. Breathing one last time in deep to the belly. And as you exhale, coming forward onto our bellies, using your forearms to support you as you come all the way down. Chest comes all the way down to the mat. From here, inhale to pull the shoulder blades together. Lift your chest off the mat, looking up towards the sky, opening to the throat chakra. And exhaling, chest comes back down onto the mat. Inhaling again, pulling the shoulder blades together, opening that chest, that heart up to the sky. And exhale, down we go. One last time, inhaling, opening to the chest, engaging through your core so you're not just using your back muscles. Looking up to the sky and exhale to bring it all the way down. Chest comes down onto the mat. From here, extending your right leg, so your right arm out towards the side, and we'll roll over onto our right side. The left foot can come behind your right leg. So opening to this right shoulder here is what we're really trying to do. Noticing how it feels in your inner right shoulder, using your left hand on the mat to help ground you. Breathing deeply here. Into the nose. And as you exhale, rolling back onto your tummy. And then extending the left arm out towards the side. Again, using your right hand to ground you down. And then rolling over on to your left side. Your right feet comes behind you. Using your right hand to stabilize you in this position. If you have a lot of space in your shoulders, you can even bend your left elbow. Might find you a deeper stretch if you don't find this is deep enough. But if you don't, feel free to leave it as it is. And as you exhale, coming forward, back onto your belly. From here, puffing your palms to your fingertips on the outside of your mat. Inhaling to lift your chest off the mat, pulling the shoulder blades together. And as you exhale, twisting over towards the right, your left shoulder comes down towards the mat. And we're just going to leave it here for a moment. So we're not going to move with our breath, keeping that left shoulder down on the mat, opening through that left inner shoulder here. Noticing how that feels. You can play with your placement of your shoulder on the ground and your hands. How close or far away you have your hands from your torso will change how this feels. So playing around with that here, breathing through our belly. And our next inhale, rising all the way back up to center. Our chest pulling the shoulder blades together. As you exhale, twisting over towards the left or right shoulder comes down towards the mat. And again, playing with the placement of your hands. If you have your fingertips that are facing forward, it's going to feel different than if they're facing the side of the room. So noticing how that feels for you and really trying to hone in on what's going to be best. Keeping both of your hips on the mat, both your left hip tends to come off the mat as we do this. Just trying to keep them both grounded. So as you inhale again, coming back to center, pulling the shoulder blades together, and as you exhale, dropping back down onto the mat. Placing your hands on either side of your chest. And then pushing yourself back up into tabletop and exhale down into a child's pose. From here, we're going to do actually you can take the child's pose of your choice. For me, I find it helps to open, kind of do the opposite of your chest if you do your knees together, because then you get your chest over top of your knees to help open and find the opposite action in your shoulder blades. However, if you feel it's more comfortable to do a wide-legged child's pose, feel free to do that. But I find if you want to get that opposite action in your shoulders, then doing a closed-legged child's pose helps to do that. And then you can let your hands fall down behind you, breathing in through your belly to open that rib cage. And then pushing yourself back up into a seated position, walking your hands forward a bit, past where you would have them in a tabletop, and we're going to slowly come back into a downward dog. First downward dog is a practice, using all those muscles in our shoulders, keeping our 5 fingers flat against the mat in each hand. Maybe walking your dog, noticing how your calves feel, your hamstrings. That's what we did those stretches. Breathing deeply here. And on your inhale, we'll look up, bend our knees, and step or hop our way to the top of the mat, meeting in a forward fold. Crossing opposite hands on our elbows, maybe rocking side to side. My favorite thing to do in a forward fold is to just let loose. Letting yourself open up in this position. I find you can really get a nice both calf, hamstring, and low back stretch while we're in this forward fold. Focusing on that belly to side connection, bending your knees as much as you need. And then finding a bit of stillness, inhaling to halfway lift, flat back, and exhale, rain it down. Inhale, root to rise, reaching your arms up towards the sky, shining your heart up, and exhale, hands down to heart center. Grounding here for just a moment, and then inhale again, reaching the arms up to the sky. Exhale to fold it down. Inhale to halfway lift, and exhale this time, bending your knees, planting your palms, and stepping or hopping your way to the back of your mat in a plank pose. From here, you can either chaturanga from your feet or your knees, or you can sweep through into an upward facing dog, whatever works best for you. From here, we'll tuck the toes under, send the hips back, downward facing dog again. From here, grounding your left heel into the mat, extending your right leg up and back into a 3-legged dog. As you exhale, coming forward and stepping the right foot in between your hands and dropping the left knee back in a low lunge with our knee grounded. Whenever we do hips and opening our hips, I find low lunges are one of the best ways to open our quads. A lot of the time we don't realize that our low back pain is coming from too tight of quads because all of our hips are connected. So one of my favorite things to do is do at least a bit of a quad stretch when we're doing some opening of the hips. So from here, engaging your belly, lengthening the spine, and then leaning forward as much as you can to feel an opening in this left quad. You may want to keep your back toes tucked, or flip them underneath, whatever finds the best stretch for you. It tends to be different for whoever it is. So listening to your body here, noticing what kind of modifications you need to make this feel the best it can. Again, keeping that long spine. And then as you exhale, we'll straighten that front leg, tuck, flex that right foot, folding forward, bringing that belly to thigh connection in here, using your hands to ground you. And then as you come forward, bending into this right knee, we'll place both our hands on the inside of the right leg and walk our right foot over towards the side in our lizard variation. Holding here for a minute. And then again, if you'd like, you can find a deeper quad stretch in your left-hand side by bending this left knee and then reaching back with your right hand to open that left quad. So you can stay here in lizard, but if you feel like you want that extra stretch in your left quad, doing this variation with the bent left knee helps to open it there. Breathing through your belly, holding here for 3, 2, 1, and then dropping the right hand back down. And then we'll flex the right front foot and bend and straighten that right leg again, finding that calf stretch and that hamstring stretch here. Breathing deeply. Inhaling to bend forward into that front knee. And then we'll bring the left knee off the mat, step the right foot back in our plank posture here, and then stand ourselves back into a downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, the ground into that right heel, extend the left leg up towards the sky. That three-legged dog. And as you exhale, coming forward, stepping the left foot in between your hands, dropping the right knee down towards the mat. Again, we're coming into this low lunge on the opposite side. So lengthening through your spine, looking forward, and you're placing your hands on your hips to help steady you. And then as you've grounded in, coming forward, bending into this left knee to open to this right quad here. And again, paying attention to your back toes. If they're flat or tucked under, that'll make a big difference depending on how your quads are. And one may work better for you than the other. So really just noticing what works best for you. Breathing here, focusing on sending our breath into our belly. Our belly and our nervous system are so connected to how tight our muscles are, especially our hips. So focusing on releasing that here. And then as you exhale, we'll straighten that front leg, flex the left foot, fold forward into that half split, opening through the calf, opening through the left hamstring. Lots of opening in the hips today. Letting yourself forward as much as you need, keeping as much of a bend as you need in this left leg. Now, when you come forward, bending into that left knee, we'll take both of our hands to the inside of that left foot into our lizard variation on the opposite side. As we did on the last side, you can take a variation where you have bent this time the right knee and reach behind you with your left hand, grabbing your right toes, and coming into this variation where we focus on stretching that right quad. So for me personally, my quads tighten up as I sit at a desk all day. So this stretch has been a game changer for me. So I love to incorporate it whenever we're doing some sort of hip and shoulder opener, because I find that it can be really impactful. Breathing deep. But if this is too much for you, feel free to stay in your lizard variation that works for you. Breathing deeply here into the belly, relaxing those muscles. And then if you have your knee bent, slowly lowering it down, placing both of your hands onto the inside of the left foot, and then straightening that left leg, flexing the left foot, coming into this half split. Focusing on stretching that calf and hamstring. You can even get a little bit of a low back stretch here, depending on how forward you go. Breathing into the belly. And as you come forward here, so we're going to bend into that front knee again. Tuck the back toes under, lift the right knee off the mat, and step the right foot back to meet the left from here. And then come back into our downward dog. Pedaling at the feet again from here in a downward dog. Taking a deep inhale. And as you exhale, coming forward into a plank. And then inhaling to sweep right into an upward facing dog, opening your hips here. And as you exhale back into your downward facing dog. From here, grounding the left heel into the mat, extending the right leg up towards the sky. And as you exhale, bringing the right knee to right wrist, coming into a pigeon posture. So you can do a couple of variations here. If you feel this is pain for your knee, I really encourage you to come into a different figure four. So we're focusing on the glute here. So you can come into a figure four like this if you feel pain in your right knee. Or you can lay down on the ground, coming into whatever glute stretch you'd like to do. But if you are finding your pigeon, focusing on making your hips even on both sides, so you're not leaning more onto one side than the other. Inhaling to lengthen your spine. And you can stay here in your upright pigeon, which opens both your glutes on the right side and your quad on the left. Or you can come forward into a sleeping pigeon, resting your forearms or even your head down on the mat, whatever works for you. And this will focus more on your right glute than it will on your left quad. But again, everyone's body is unique, so playing around with how you feel needs. Breathing into our belly as always. Opening through those hips. And then placing your hands down on the mat to push yourself back up if you are in your sleeping pigeon. And from here, we're going to come back into a Gomukhasana cow face pose. So this is going to be kind of intense. So if you need to kind of come out of it or do a variation, I'll show you that as well. So if you're up to what we're going to do is pushing ourselves back a bit and then coming so that our right leg is going to sit over top of our left, and we're crossing and bending both of our knees, sitting like this. So this can be pretty intense if your hips aren't that open. What you can do is you can find the same kind of posture laying on your back. So when we lay on our back like this, and then crossing our legs on top of each other and pulling in with our hands. So if you find that's really intense in your hips, feel free to come into that variation, and it helps to just open them as we go along. But if you're feeling fine with your Gomukhasana, making it so that both of your sit bones are on the ground here, lengthening through your spine, and then placing either your palms together, opposite elbows together, lengthening the spine, and then you can fold forward, curling your spine here as much as you can to help open that low back. Breathing into this, noticing how it feels. It can be pretty intense. So we'll just stay here for a moment, and then sitting back up, and then coming over, and then twisting a bit over towards the left. So placing your hands on the left side of your torso on the ground, and maybe doing a bit of a twist over towards the left. Uncrossing your legs. We'll do a bit of a windshield wiper. I always like to do after we find our legs are in some sort of static position. Doing that windshield wiper so that we can help loosen all the stuff going on there. And then we'll, after crossing your legs, coming forward back into a tabletop position. From a tabletop, we'll be doing the opposite thing on the other side. So walking your hands forward a bit to the path where you would have a tabletop, tucking the back toes under, sending yourself into a downward facing dog. Breathing here, this time grounding the right heel into the mat, extending the left leg up towards the sky. And exhale, coming forward, bringing your left knee to left wrist, dropping down into your pigeon on the opposite side. We're going to flex this left foot. Noticing how it feels, and as we did on the other side, we're going to take a variation of your choice. Again, if you find your knee is hurting, these can be really intense on your knee. So finding a different figure four on your back, sitting down, that works as well. Or if you're staying here in your pigeon, focusing on keeping a level hips here, and not practically sitting on one side or the other, keeping a level hips here, and focusing on opening through your chest if you're in your upright pigeon. So if you're in your upright pigeon, wanting to open through the chest as well, pulling the shoulder blades together. If you're in your sleeping pigeon, forearms down on the ground, perhaps your forehead is on the ground, and breathing into our hips here. Breathing into our hips is so important in these postures. They really help to open everything up. And then wherever you are, pushing yourself back up into your upright pigeon and pushing into Gomukhasana on the opposite side. So this time your left leg is going to come over top of the right. Both knees are bent, coming so that you're sitting on your hips here, on your sit bones here. So again, I demonstrated it on the opposite side, but you can come onto your back and then cross your legs over top of each other and use your hands to pull, grab onto your toes and pull inwards. And that will give you very similar effect as this. So I encourage that for anyone who finds this is pretty intense. As we did on the opposite side, clasping either your hands together, or if you can do a reverse prayer or a bind, then you can do that. You can do a bind, or as most accessible, clasping opposite elbows, opening through the chest, so pulling the shoulder blades down and away, and then folding forward, really curling your spine, tucking your chin to your chest here, finding that space in your navel, letting your head perhaps rest on your knee if you can. If this is really intense, you can always forego the folding if you want to stay upright and you feel this is intense enough. Just listening to your body. Gomukhasana can be intense, so really noticing how you feel here. Not taking more than you need. Breathing deeply into those bellies, into that stomach, that tummy. On your next inhale, using your core to rise all the way up. And we'll do as we did on the opposite side, twisting a bit over towards the right. So placing your hands down on the ground to the right side of you and kind of twisting a bit over towards the right. Just kind of helps open up your side body here. And then unfolding your legs, windshield wipering to opposite sides. Noticing how this feels. And from here, we can, you can cross your legs or keep your legs extended, whatever you feel kind of feels more right for you. We're going to do a bit of a neck opener. We focus mostly on our shoulders and our hips, so it's really nice to get into the sides of our neck here and really find an opening. So I have a couple different variations that you can choose from. So one is, first we'll start with lengthened spine, looking forward, keeping our chin kind of tucked a bit so it's not, cranking, but really focusing on that length. And from here, letting your head fall over towards the right a bit. So this is kind of step one, letting it fall over towards the right a bit. If you want, you can place your right hand on the left side of your head, just letting the weight of it help your head open through this left side of your neck. If you find this is intense, or if you prefer, you can clasp both of your hands together behind you and place them on the right hand side of your hip. And you might find that gives you also a stretch through your right forearm. And you could even look down, playing with the placement of looking over towards the side, having your head tilting to the side. Whichever of those variations works best for you, just noticing what helps you open through your neck. Breathing deeply here. And then slowly but surely, if your right hand was on your head, lifting it off and then raising your head back up to center. And we'll do the opposite side. So again, we'll take the same variations. You can either first start with lengthening and then folding your head over towards the left. So letting your head tilt over, finding an opening in the right hand side of your neck, this kind of right on our scalenes here. Or you can take your left hand, place it on the right hand side of your head and let the weight of it, not pushing or cranking, but just letting the weight kind of just drift your head down a bit further. Or if you want to get that more of a forearm stretch as well as the neck, clasping your hands behind you, placing them clasped like this, but behind you, and then place it on the left side of your hip, opening through that right neck and forearm. And again, if neither of these, if you want to just play with the placement of your hands and have your head tilted over towards the left, you can do that as well. It's really kind of fun to play around with little things like this because it's very individual to the person, what is going to get you the best stretch. So just playing around here, cultivating that body awareness, noticing how you feel, grounding into the moment, noticing if your mind has wandered somewhere else, and just bringing it back. And then slowly, slowly letting your head come back to center, maybe looking side to side. Noticing how your neck feels, maybe just kind of rolling your shoulders here. Noticing how that feels. We'll be doing one last kind of neck and scalene stretch to help open the front of our chest here. And we'll be placing our hands over top of our chest. So just kind of clasping your hands opposite each other, fanning your fingers out, and then keeping your gaze forward, keeping a long spine. We'll just slowly start to pull down on your chest, so just kind of on the skin of your chest, and start to look up towards the sky. So noticing how that kind of pulls the front of your neck and your scalene, which is kind of this area in here, and helps to open that up. It's kind of an area we're always looking down at our computers, our phones, whatever it is that we're doing. So it's always nice to get that opposite action, even if it's just kind of at the skin level, pulling down to open that up, looking up towards the sky. Breathing here. And then letting go slowly, nodding your head back down, looking down and then up. So again, moving that blood flow in your neck, the spinal fluid as we look up and down helps to move everything around in our spine. And then from here, extending your legs out in front of you, we'll come back down onto our back. Slowly either using your core to help you down, or you can place your hands down on the mat to lower all the way down. And from here, tucking our knees into our chest, and then coming into a happy baby. So clasping your hands on the outside of each foot, and then raising your feet up towards the sky, keeping those knees bent if you want. You can straighten your knees if you want, if you find that's going to give you a better stretch to your hamstrings and your calves, or keeping them bent if you want to focus really on your inner thigh. What straightening them will do is really more so focus on your hamstrings and your calves. So noticing what you want to do there. Breathing deep. And then slowly lowering them back down onto the mat, your feet flat on the mat, knees bent. And we'll just come into a couple bridge raises here. So making sure that your low back is flat on the mat before we begin. And then on your inhale, clenching your core and slowly lifting your low back off the mat as you inhale. And as you exhale, lowering your low back down onto the mat, vertebrae by vertebrae. 2 more times, inhaling to lift your low back off the mat, coming into our bridge, engaging to your core, your glutes, and exhaling to slowly lower it all the way down so that your low back finally meets the mat. And then inhaling one last time, engaging through your core, lifting your low back off the mat, keeping those your legs facing parallel so they're not splaying out to the side, keeping the strength there in your glutes or core, and exhaling to slowly lower down. From here, I encourage anyone to take any final posture they want, maybe another glute stretch like this, like a figure 4, or kind of like the Gomukhasana variation that I showed you, or you can take a twist, a shoulder stand, whatever kind of final posture you feel good for you. I'll probably just take a few little twists to either side just to open the low back here to one side and then the other. But really, I encourage you to take this time to cultivate what you need in your own body. As we do this, as we take time out for our bodies, we learn what we need, what we can leave for today, and it turns into an ever-evolving practice. So whenever you've done, you've taken your final posture, let's come into our Shavasana, extending your legs out in front of you. Or you can bend your knees, keeping your low back flat on the mat. Whatever posture you find will be allowing you to come into utter relaxation. Maybe taking a deep breath in through your belly and exhaling it all out. When you're ready, rocking your head side to side, keeping your eyes closed, and then rolling over onto your right hand side. using your right bicep as a pillow, and then pushing yourself up into a seated position. From here, it can be seated on your heels and cross-legged, whatever works best for you. Letting your shoulders fall down and away. We'll do one last round, this time of box breathing, not of our alternate nose breathing, but of box breathing. So as I mentioned earlier, we'll be inhaling for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, and then holding for 4. We'll do this 2 times just to help bring us back into the space of utter calmness, relaxation, and balance. So grounding yourself in, taking one final exhale, and then inhaling through your nose for 2, 3, 4, holding at the top for 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 2, 3, 4. Holding at the bottom, 2, 3, 4, and inhaling for 2, 3, 4. Hold the top for 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 2, 3, 4. And then letting your breath resume its natural rhythm. Opening your eyes if they aren't open already. Looking around you, taking in everything that's going on. As always, I want to thank everyone for showing up for themselves. Thank yourselves for showing up for your body, for taking a time in your week to really cultivate this body awareness, this practice. As always, thank you for allowing me to be your guide. It's such a joy, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve.
No problem. Have a great weekend, everyone.
All right. Thank you.